Hey everyone, it's so good to see you again. So I wanted to just go for a nice walk and show you an area of Mexico that they just built up. It's this walkway that goes through what we would call the freeway, the Viaducto, which is like a no stoplight freeway type of road they've built here that cuts across the city. Beautiful sky. Over there you'll see the World Trade Center. I still want to go eat. There's a restaurant in that top part and it's like Italian food and I really want to go there someday. I think it'd be a really beautiful experience. So we'll walk through here now. Actually, I'd really like to live at one of these houses. I think these apartments right off of the freeway are great. Maybe because I grew up in Southern California and I've always really liked the sound of the freeway. So for me, it's really relaxing. It's it feels alive, but also peaceful all at the same time. A lot of times, Mexico City, they have so little space, 24 million people, and so you see them building a lot of areas where you can get away for a little bit. Parks here, parks in the middle of the freeway. Here we're at the busy Insurgentes. You can see how quickly you can go from really peaceful park to busy metropolis street. Nice helmet. Over there you have people selling different things you might want. go down the line looking for a few pesos for the music. It's cool, he's got his little kids there. So then we're back in the middle of the freeway park. Right there you can see I think it would be great if they end up building this all the way from Tacubaya all the way to Iztapalapa, follow the Viaducto all the way. That way a person could walk or take metro. It's gotten a lot greener since the last time I walked here. Mexico is having a pretty serious drought. Mexico City it's only had maybe 3 or 4 days of rain in 5 months, which is really unusual. Last time I walked here, it was all weeds and brown. And now it's got some beauty and some green to it. It's interesting artwork. Yeah, this was both sides were just like this the whole way. I was here last maybe 2 months ago. So I guess the official name of this is Rio de la Piedad. I think that's what, Stone River? Viaducto, as opposed to the Viaducto, which is where all the cars are. They put these up across the city, Ciudad de Mexico. I still like the name DF better, but I'm not sure if I can go or not. We'll wait. I don't want to run with the camera. All right. Unlike in the United States, if you see an opportunity, you can cross the street at any time. It's a great building. After living here for some time, I would say the real only law is don't be a pendejo. That's the one thing you shouldn't do. And other than that, it's okay. Just don't be a pendejo. Friday, so that traffic's really clogging up. Buenas tardes, señor. I did think that originally they were going to build this throughout the entire Viaducto, which goes just all the way pretty much around the city or straight across the city. But so far they've only built a certain distance that we'll walk today. I really enjoy how Mexico City, although it's it's a big bad city, like New York, like Cairo, like, you know, any giant city across the world, one of the 5 largest cities in the world. They really do create spaces like this where you can get a few moments of peace and quiet, go for a run, there's no cars. I think it's really important for our mental health to have certain amounts of quiet. Once you've lived in Mexico City for a while, this is really quiet. But every time I hear the videos, oh, there's a little mouse. Every time I hear the videos when I say it's quiet, look at this. This bridge was originally here, and so they didn't really rebuild the bridge. They just, for anyone who's normal American height, you're gonna need to duck. People on roller skates here, they tend to realize at the last second they're in trouble. They need to duck. But for me, it's no problem. No inconvenience. This is something I've always thought was really weird about Mexico, well, and Balboa Island, but you can just look right into people's windows. And so they have, 30 feet of drapes. So one thing I've thought is a little interesting, and I've been thinking a lot about, is how people will wear those giant masks and face masks and double masks, and in an area like this, I don't think they're, and it's fine that they do it, we shouldn't. But if we're going to talk about the science, and there seems to be an identity forming around the fear of the coronavirus. And on one level, it makes perfect sense. We want to be careful. And then on the other, we see that, science says, listen, if you're outside and you're going to be not really talking to anybody and you're not in a crowd, for the most part, you're very, very safe. It's the coronavirus spreads indoors, I believe. And so what I've noticed is that there's kind of an identity holding on to the most amount of fear possible, right? So imagine you're one of 6 people on this path and you have 4 levels of protective gear. And maybe people have immune system disorders and they need to be extra careful when they start this. But it seems that there's an identity forming where, like in the United States, science says in these circumstances you don't need to wear the mask outside. And then people will say, no way, you have to. I'll be curious to see if we'll ever actually find a way out of the fear, or are we going to hold on to it for forever? I don't mean when you're talking to someone at this point, if you're not vaccinated, we should wear masks. You're inside, you should wear a mask. But even when the coronavirus was pretty bad, if you were walking here, this is your moment to, unless I'm wrong, and I could be, but this is your moment to enjoy fresh air. There's no one here. I think one thing that was difficult is that the coronavirus hit us when we had very divisive politicians. Trump was in the United States. That guy was in Brazil. Obrador here in Mexico. And it turned into an identity of argument instead of, I think a lot of people felt betrayed by mixed messaging by those presidents or by a lack of concern. And so they really hold on to the idea that, just the idea like you need a mask, and it doesn't change when the situation changes. It's become part of like our identity, our political identity. The fear is understandable though. And at the beginning, I think that we made a lot of good decisions. The lockdowns, the masks. We didn't really know how the virus spread. We were afraid to touch counters, and we were buying all the sanitation wipes, and every time we touched the door, we cleaned the door. And over time, we understood that the coronavirus is a coronavirus. It's more powerful than the flu. It's very dangerous. It's killed millions. And over time, if you are careful of certain behaviors, you have a lower chance of catching it. And so I think that sometimes the most rational thing to do is, especially when the numbers, like here in Mexico, for the first time in a year, we're down to what they call yellow light, which is just be cautious. Our numbers have gone down. And so we can be a little less cautious, but don't let your guard down. And I think that's the right way to approach it. Try to get back to as much normal as possible without being disrespectful to others, especially, or to your own health. Buenas tardes. So that's the area that we walked. Let's look over here. The punks have arrived. Got some good punk art here. No somos nada. Okay, I'm not going to go on. Wait. Christian Death. I'm not going to go on with that one. But I like Suji and the Banshees. That's interesting. Future sucks. That's offensive. Yep, it's gonna suck. They're not wrong about that. Who knows? Maybe out of all this cancel culture and people being upset, we're gonna get a great artistic flourishing of pushing the boundaries again, and humorous artistic street graffiti. It could be interesting. Let's get back to the park, to the pathway. Let's get back on the path. So here's a map of Mexico City with Mexico City actually should have massive amounts of water. And one of the big problems in the city is that as the Spanish took over, and this is even, as late as 1930s, you see photographs of, this would be our great-grandparents taking boats into the city. The Mexico City is naturally a city like Venice, where it has these long canals, and the history of this city is one up until like the 30s of having to take a boat and you row from Tasqueña or towards Xochimilco into the Zocalo, and then these people would drop off like the food or the fruits, the plants that to be sold in the Zocalo, and then they'd get back into the boat and take the river to the outside of the city. And then, I don't know why, but I guess to be more modern, they filled all of the rivers and they drained them and made, traditional concrete streets. But now you think we could use that water, and it was so pretty. I'm sure some people argue that it was a really good reason, and I respect that. I love this city, but I do wish that we still had those canals. So sadly, this is the end of the walkway. What I'm hoping is that they'll keep building this way and then build further where we were at. All right. Well, that was a good walk, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a blessed rest of the day, peaceful, and I hope that everything you want in your life comes to you. Have a beautiful rest of the day.